A lot of striping companies out there will struggle to collect money consistently. I have lived that life, bro. And in this video, I would love to share with you some of the things that we've done to mitigate that problem of collecting money promptly. Welcome to the show. Thank you for listening, for watching, wherever you're consuming this. And a big thank you to our sponsor, Mighty Line Floor Tape. Check them out. We are so glad to have them on board as a sponsor of this segment. Real talk, man. We're getting right into it. Growing a business is hard, right? And one of the things that striping businesses in particular will struggle with, because we're not doing residential work, I don't think you are anyways, maybe you do like an apartment or something, but you're usually dealing with commercial clients, and payment terms and slow paying customers can be a real problem. So I'm going to share with you some of the things that I've gone through in the past couple of years, or even like lately, and some of the things that we do at this company to mitigate that. And I've learned very slowly over the years that there's a lot of things that you can do to mitigate the problems of cash flow and, you know, all your invoice totals piling up on paper, but you're not actually collecting them. One thing that I remember reading this a lot but not really understanding it, which is a lot of successful business people tell you that don't grow too fast. Like, don't grow the company really, really fast because it causes problems. And me being me, stubborn, I never really understood it, and I was kind of like, how bad could it be? Well, it turns out that the smart people were actually smart, and they were telling the truth. When you grow a striping company in particular really quickly, and you start doing smaller jobs when you first start out, $500, $700, $1,000, usually those kinds of jobs will pay a little bit quicker. When you start growing and you start doing bigger ticket jobs, that's when payment terms can really slow down. And it is not uncommon to get payment terms well past 30 days. Like, you could go into 45 days, 60 days, even 90 days plus sometimes to collect payment. So if you're doing a striping job that's worth 10 grand or 25 grand, that's usually like a lump sum price. You do it over, a couple of days. If you're waiting like 90 days to get paid, that's a lot of money that you have to shell out for paint, other materials, your employees' time, your time. It's just so much a financial burden that you have to carry. And when we started growing Laser really, really quickly, we felt that sting. There was many times where on paper, it looks like we were doing so well because we were sending out invoices like crazy. But I learned the hard way, it doesn't mean much if you can't collect them. So a couple things that I would recommend in no particular order here. I would say I should clarify, probably the most important thing you should do is go back a few videos, and we just put out content, probably 6 videos ago about proposals and quotes. Having a really good proposal and service agreement is super important. Like, put in writing in a signable document what you expect your payment terms to be for your customers, and then elevate that a little bit further and say, here's what happens if those payment terms aren't adhered to. So that could be like putting liens on buildings. It could be interest on invoices. It could be like notice of collections. Basically, whatever you would like to see happen, get it in writing. And if you're really kind of intimidated by that, or you don't know what to do, what I did was, a couple years ago, I went to a lawyer and I said, here's the problems that we're facing. Can you help me draft this agreement? And it cost like $400, and it was well worth it. We still use that agreement and a couple different variations of it to this day. Saved us a lot of grief. Another thing that you could consider doing is reaching out to some companies that will actually pay your invoices directly to you. So these are also known as factoring companies. So depending on which part of the world you live in, which country, and which companies you're dealing with, some of those companies will actually directly pay you the invoices that are owed to you, and you just have to pay it back over a certain period of time with some interest on it. So think of it as like a quick pay kind of service. You got to be careful with those because you will generally pay a fair bit of interest, but that's an option to consider anyways. So if you have a customer that is adamant, we only pay in 60 days or 90 days, that's the way life's going to be. Sometimes you can factor that into your pricing with that specific customer and then leverage a factoring company to pay you quicker. So basically you're counting when you send out a quote to this company, you could factor in the extra interest that you're going to pay. And then as soon as you send the invoice, have that invoice paid to you right away from the factoring company, and then you've accounted for the interest, and that can go straight to against the quote that you sent to the customer. So those are a couple things that we've done in the past that have worked really well. One thing that we haven't really done, and it's one thing that we're actually me literally investigating this week. I have spent every morning this week, except for Monday, in a construction law course. And a big reason why I went to that was to understand what rights you have as a contractor when you're getting, slow getting paid with putting liens on properties. So depending on which state you are in or which province, the laws are going to be different, usually state by state. Definitely in Canada, it's different for every province. But basically, there's legal provisions available to contractors who are slow getting paid from a general contractor or from an owner. There's usually a building lien of some sort that you can do, or a property lien. And that's something I would definitely encourage you to do some research on. The course I'm in this week has been phenomenal. I've learned a lot, and definitely a tool that we're going to utilize going forward. So if you want more info on that, or more like scary stories about growing too fast and running out of cash and not collecting your bills, reach out to me. I have no problem now going into gross details like how that can kind of happen and how you can protect yourself. But definitely, if you are planning on growing your company, make sure you take some steps, solid agreements, maybe an invoice factoring, something like that. Just always be aware of what your risks are. And if you're really unsure, go speak with an accountant. Man, accountants are there to help you. If you don't outsource that, it might be something to look at. They can help you because you don't always know this stuff. I certainly didn't know this stuff. Accountants can really help. So hopefully somebody out there finds this video helpful and gets paid quicker, because Matt, that's what we want in life. Let's get paid, brother. Get paid. All right, keep your stripes hot. We'll talk to you next week.